Welcome, foolish creatures, to another episode of Hill City Paranormal. You'll hear spooky calls from our haunted hotline. Stories plucked from another dimension with tales from the beyond. Oddities galore in news from the beyond. And haunting interviews with your ghost host, Woody G. Watts. Welcome to Hill City Paranormal.
This is your host, Woody G. Watts, with another episode of the Hill City Paranormal Podcast. In today's super special Halloween edition episode, I am revisiting some of the most chilling calls to our haunted hotline, all in one spooky episode. So sit back, cut your nightlight on, and enjoy the best of the Haunted Hotline, Volume 1.
I was born here in Tallahassee, Oklahoma, and we have a pump house here out by the lake. And I seen this sort of little girl in the pump house a couple weeks ago, and it was almost terrifying. Yep. And I'm not sure, but she seemed to look like she'd been drowned. There's water that's on the outside of it because it's right by the lake, but also the back part of it has like crates of stone where there's water down in it. Well, we've had a few people say they've seen her, but we only see her at night. Very few ever said they've seen her during the day. So I don't know what it is with her. But also, they said that there was a little boy they seen under the water down at the bottom of the stairwell. The history of the pump house is for many years that they've had it. It was used for a lot of high school parties. Drug addicts used it for labs. They've had a few overdoses in there. We've had it say they've seen things like unexplainable things that you wouldn't even think were real. And I'm not sure, are they telling the truth? Because I think they are, being what I've seen. I'm pretty sure the little girl was drowned. And now she's sitting there, and she's trying to warn people.
Hi, so currently I am 17 years old. My name is Alexandra Perez. I live in Texas. So this happened whenever I was about, I want to say, 3 years old, 4 years old. So what happened was that I remember my family came from Mexico, and they came to the house. And where we were living at, it was a lot of woods. It's very spooky too. So we were just chilling. We ended up going to sleep around 12 in the morning. My mom ended up being the only one awake during the middle of the night. And I think she was doing her taxes. And she told me this years later. But she told me that during that day, and I also actually remember that day, but she told me that on that day, that she heard a knock on the door around 3 in the morning. So she heard a knock on the door, she opened it, and out of nowhere she sees a little kid. She said it looked like a little Mexican kid, and with like a bowl cut and a diaper. Out of nowhere, this kid just runs inside the house, and my mom creeped out. She starts looking around, looking for where the kid went. She never found him. Okay, so a couple years later went by. We've actually had a lot of encounters with the spirit, and we knew it was a spirit because we didn't know who it was, and why would a kid be running around our house? You know, like, it just makes sense. So we know it was a spirit, and my mom, she knows when she can feel like a spirit. She says she feels some kind of energy or something, but she said that she would feel cold out of nowhere, and she could actually see the spirit running by. Actually, like, I'm getting the chills just talking about it. But it's crazy because out of nowhere, my sisters would just feel somebody grab their leg, or they would hear whispering, or they would hear, like, the kid laughing, and it would just happen in that house, right? I never heard anything. I never did, but I've had heard like noises around, like, trees breaking, like owls, things like that. My mom would tell me, "Oh, this is what's happening." I wouldn't know what it was because I could never encounter anything like that, but my mom has. And it's crazy because even back then when I was barely born, my uncle ended up coming to the house, and he drove in and he saw a kid, waving at them, right? So they're over here thinking that it was me, and they waved back like it was nothing. And they go inside, and they were like, "Oh, where is?" He drove in, he saw a little kid just waving at him, and he thought it was me. So he comes inside, and he was like, "Oh, where am I at?" And my mom's like, "Oh, well, she's sleeping." At the time, I remember that my mom told me that she was actually breastfeeding me. And my uncle was like, "What? Like, I just saw a kid, waving at me. Like, who was it? Like, I clearly saw her. But, here she is asleep, being breastfed." And she was like, "No, she was here this whole time." And it's crazy because I've had a lot of family members encounter this same spirit. Same little kid with, a bowl cut, haircut, and a diaper. And, till this day, I want to say my sister has said that she has encountered this baby running around, in that old house. Because currently, at the moment, they're living over there, and we ended up moving. But, yeah, it's crazy, and it's it's scary at the same time, and it's very creepy. But at the same time, it's very fascinating, the way that you see how people can see those kinds of things, But not only was it my mom, not only was it my sister, but it was other other family members that have experienced this kind of, paranormal situation. So yeah, this is my story. If y'all enjoyed it, just, give me a heads up. My Instagram is at RETARDED_LOSERR. I know it's a very funny name, but yes, it's Retarded Loser. And yeah, so if y'all enjoy my story, just, hit me up or something. Let me know if y'all enjoyed the story, or if, you want to post this on the podcast or anything. So yeah, I'm very happy that I shared this story with you, and I hope y'all enjoy it. All right, well, thank y'all guys. Y'all have a good one.
Hi, my name is Thomas Sanford. I live in Chillicothe, Ohio. We have this place called the Majestic Theater. I worked there for quite a while, and one day I had to go upstairs in the fourth floor ballroom, sweep it, mop it, so say my boss. Now, this ballroom was used as a speakeasy back in the 20s and 30s. So I had one of those big doors with the sliding thing on it, right? So I was up there, and I started sweeping, and I was in one corner of the room, and I heard something hit the side of the wall beside me. It was the widget that I had the door open with, and the door slammed closed. Now, the door has no lock, so I went over to it, tried to pull it open, it wouldn't open. I tried to use a slider, it wouldn't open. So I went over to the window, and I grabbed a brick that was laying on the ground. I said, "If you don't open that damn door, I'm going to throw this brick through the window and sit on the roof until my boss comes." Well, after a few minutes, I guess it knew I was serious. I heard a click. I walked over, the door opened, and I put the wedgie back in. I said, now leave me alone, let me finish what I'm doing. So I finished sweeping, and then I went and got the mop bucket, and I mopped. And I put the mop bucket catty-corner to the landing. It was a very narrow landing, so it wouldn't move. There's no way it would move. So I started downstairs with the broom and the dustbin and everything, and I heard squeak, 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 and I turned around, and the whole entire thing was moving so the front faced the landing. I said, no, don't you even think about it. Don't. Before I could get any more words out, I heard this devilish laugh, and down comes the mop bucket with all the water spilling all over the stairs, all over my legs, and I just called every name in the book, and I just heard this devilish laugh in my ear. I mean, really. Type of devilish laugh, right? So I told my boss about it. He didn't believe me, of course, but he had a little thing going on as well. And they had this hotel next door, which had many suicides in it, and VA veterans in it, and it had suicides in it. One day I was downstairs and I was vacuuming, and I felt like something was watching me, right? So I'm doing the vacuuming, all of a sudden I feel a flick on my ear. And I turn around and I see this black mist behind me, and it just squirts off. That was scary. Ever since then, I've been seeing different things. I've seen shadows. I felt shadows over top of me. I felt coldness in the heat of the day. I felt coldness. So, I don't know. My grandmother says that I'm like a shaman, that I have these empathic feelings. Anyway, Chillicothe has got some good sights and some good stuff. And Majestic still is haunted. And there's still some places that are haunted. So if you want to check us out, come down to Chillicothe, Ohio. Ask for Tank. Later.
Hi, my name is Skylar. I'm 16 years old. I had a paranormal encounter. It was last night around 3 a.m. and I kept on hearing scratching noises up on my ceiling. And I looked up and I saw this demon-looking creature right above my head. And it hissed at me, and I ran out of my room and haven't been in there since. Like, it was so scary. And I haven't gotten any sleep at all. And that's why that I called you guys, just to, I don't really know, because I feel like I'm going crazy. Bye.
Yes, this is Joel Turner, calling about your request for stories. When I was about 7 or 8 years old, we lived in a country house outside Pretty Prairie, Kansas. It had a T-shaped hallway just off the dining room. One night I was watching TV with the folks, and I got up and proceeded to go to the bathroom, which was directly across off this T-shaped hallway that had the bedrooms on either side. As I stepped into the hallway, the best way I can explain it was just a black shape. If you can imagine something underneath the carpet in a cartoon moving around, that's what this thing looked like, but it was black. I couldn't see through it to see the tub on the other side of it. It was black. And then it looked at me. When I say looked at me, the eyes were like two red tail lights. Well, my feet grew wings, and I was off for the living room with my dad. And it took him about 20 minutes to drag me back in there. And from that point on, I've been able to feel things that other people can't see. I've had quite a few other personal experiences. So, if my story is good enough, I will PM you and leave my information. Again, this is Joel Turner. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Doug Rogo. I'm calling for paranormal. A couple summers ago, last summer, 2 summers ago now, I was in my house. Me and my son were the only 2 home. And my cat seen something, heard something, didn't see, like nothing. Hair stood up on its back and literally started walking backwards. It's like, okay. I couldn't explain what was going on. So I just started taking pictures on my cell phone. And I didn't see nothing when I first looked through them, but a couple days later, I discovered I caught what I believe is a soldier apparition, body apparition, and I've showed a few people, and they are telling me that now I'm seeing things and it was just a reflection. Personally, to me, this is no reflection, and I would like to investigate a little more, but I don't know how to go about doing that. So if I could get some help, that'd be great. Thank you.
Hello. Don't mind the snoring. Everybody's asleep. This is Rachel from Ohio again. After speaking with the neighbors, we found out that basically our house was the welcome of a family disappearing, animal dead, and possibly a dead body. But when we moved in, like I mentioned before, curtain rods, I didn't think anything of it. But my one doll, we used the EMF reader, and we found out his name is Samuel, young boy. He's an F&B doll. It's one of many, and then another is a doll that I have seen almost like other dolls over on eBay and other places, and she's in a box with other items. She came with a pentagram, or other people would call it, basically a circle with a star in it. And the doll had it, and I guess it was given to a child, and the lady freaked out and gave it to me. So I acquired her, and then I've set her in several places. One thing I thought, she had fallen to the floor. No, well, she fell onto a chair behind something, so she never hit the floor. I also tried the reading on her, and she doesn't go off as much as my little blue boy. We've heard a few new things and voices and such. I also think, with the weather changing, things tend to happen more. Also, things have fallen off walls just randomly. I've done a few tarot card readings, and lo and behold, it's just kind of unexpected happenings. Been having dreams about death and stuff, and found out some people haven't been too well, but luckily we have. The dog barks at random things. It's just kind of unexpected. But I believe, if anything, there's probably a small child, a man, and a woman, and maybe one other unexplained, because I'll run like my the radio, and I'll do a scan, and you'll hear several voices. It's kind of hard to figure out who's who. And hopefully after a while, I'll get either a Blue Bear Jr. or a Blue Buddy, so I can maybe hear their voices or get more responses on that. But I hope you all enjoy and stay safe. And I do have an Instagram page, Reach Joe. Also, you all are free to tag or snag a picture of what I post and post it onto the site and show others. I've acquired a few different things, from posters to deaths to you name it. Have a good evening and stay well. Thank you.
My dog turns into a monster at night, and he really scares me. Like, right now, he broke through his cage and his door, and he's trying to attack me and my friends, and he's bigger than he was this morning, and I don't know what to do.
I saw that you guys had a haunted hotline, so I figured I'd give it a try since I've lived a full life of spooky experiences. I come from a family that has this, I don't know how to describe it, as either a gift or a curse. I know that sounds cheesy, but each generation, one of us gets the second sight, if that makes sense, and I have it. So that basically means that one of us is able to see, speak to, or, generally just feel around when ghosts are near. And I've been seeing ghosts ever since I can remember, and even before that, apparently, from what my parents had said. But I wanted to tell you all about a reading on a house that I was doing, and I didn't know the people I was doing the reading for. I only knew them a day, and I had no idea about the house. And they asked, we got to talking about, ghosts and things like that, and they asked me, since I told them I was a medium, they asked me if I could do a reading on their house, and so I was like, alright, sure, yeah, what's the harm in it? And so I'm doing the reading, and, there was so much there. It's hard to compact down to a small little story, but I'll tell you the thing that was most profound about it. They had this basement, and I went down the stairs to the basement, and it didn't have a door on it, it just had blinds. And so I go past the blinds, and to my right there's a hallway, and in front of me is a doorway to their laundry room and the boiler system, the whole shebang. And I hear this gurgling sound to the right of me. And so I look over, and there's this guy there. He's just hanging in the corner, and you could see everything. I'm not going to go into detail because it was pretty gory, but the people you see hang on TV, that's not what it looks like in real life. And it really freaked me out. I wanted to end the reading right there, and powered through though. And once we all got back upstairs and regrouped, and keep in mind, I didn't know the history of the house. They just asked me to do it, and I did it right then. I had no idea of anything that had happened there. And I told them all the things that I saw, but when I got to the dude hanging in the basement, they both looked at each other. And I didn't know this, but they were adopted. And the older couple that lived there with them were their adoptive parents. And you wouldn't have been able to tell, unless they told you. Well, apparently the whole reason why they were adopted was because their 24-year-old son hung himself in the same place in that basement in the same way that I had seen. And it was really freaky. Like, that's one of the first times I've ever had that happen to me. And I was about 15 or 16 at the time, and I really didn't know what to do with that information, so eventually I didn't go there anymore because it was just a very sick, toxic feeling there, and just felt like something was about to happen any minute. But, that's my story, and I know it sounds kind of crazy, but, you know, I figured if anybody would believe it, it would be you guys, since y'all are all about the paranormal stuff. But, alright, thank you so much. Goodbye.
Be sure to check out our website at hillcityparanormal.com and call our haunted hotline at 701-HAUNTED. That's 701-428-6833. With your spooky tale, we're dying to hear it. Thank you for listening to Hill City Paranormal.